This is literally the quickest I've ever done an update on a Reddit post. I took the screenshots yesterday, but there is an update today. One of my mutuals let me know that there was an update and it was wild. So let's get into it. This is the update for the Am I the A-hole for wanting to divorce my postpartum wife. He said he had to talk to his wife quicker because this story was spreading so quickly. And he said, way more people I personally know are getting details than I'm comfortable with. Oh, well, my bad. He said, before I ended up chatting with her, I opened up to my parents and sister about what was happening in detail. My parents were flustered at me hiding the more unsavory details, to say the least, and are probably going to be checking up on me daily for the rest of the year to make sure I'm okay. My sister would probably have to be held back from thrashing her, so I had to get a friend to help with the chat since my sister would not be able to contain herself. So basically, within hours of the story going into the digital stratosphere, I called my wife back as quickly as I could as I could finally sit down and talk. We chose a local park this morning, and I had a friend of mine record the conversation from beginning to end. I was basically ready to hear the generic affair story and get out of Dodge. But of course, it got complicated. We met at a section with picnic tables and picked one as far away from other people to avoid them getting wrapped up in any awkwardness. She looked terrible, haggard, stressed, and thankfully without the baby. She tried to have the big emotional chat and whatnot. I wasn't tearing up or acting like the hardened badass. I frankly was just wanting to figure out what this was all for. I didn't even get to ask the question before the floodgates spilled. I'm going to attempt to relay the story as best as I can because even looking back on the recording, it's a mess. But also, it's because I don't 100% believe it, so fair warning. It could all be fake. This all started with her mother. As I said before, my wife's father was absent. He started off well, having two sons with her mother before her. When her mother got pregnant with her, her father went from being the picture perfect guy he was at first and slowly changed into a negligent, abusive, unfaithful, and unsupportive jackass, ending with him disappearing when her mother was delivering. He's been in and out of prison since. No one knows why he did it. The impression her mother always gave was a strong, resilient woman who withstood anything life threw at her and did anything for her kids. She has claimed to be in therapy for years. In reality, she managed to conceal a deep hatred for men outside of her sons. But according to my wife, there was favoritism towards her. My wife also found out she stopped going to therapy almost a decade ago, but never told anyone. Her mother always seemed to have some slight against me, and now I know why. She was never hostile, but certainly wasn't warm to me. And hearing about her secret hatred, I kind of knew where this was going. Roughly about half a year before she got pregnant, my mother in law slowly began sowing seeds of doubt and bitterness into my wife. Apparently, she had a full mental break. She told her about me staying late at work and possibly hiding an affair, or that myself providing majority on the income, setting her up for a hard divorce. Everything my mother in law's husband did to her, she convinced my wife that I would do to her, and she pumped this poison into her for months. My wife always idolized her mother, and compounding that with the anxiety she suffered from for years, she dove in deep. As soon as she got pregnant, like on the dot, she fell into a mental hole within days. And that's when her mother got hold of her again. Hearing about her pregnancy apparently triggered something fierce in my mother in law, and it spiraled from there. She had my wife fully convinced it was happening. Every single thing my wife did to hurt me was at the behest of my mother in law, combined with pregnancy hormones and undiagnosed mental illness she claims to have, no confirmation, and stress. She completely lost her mind. She 100% believed I would bail. So she was punishing me first, culminating in her moving in with her mother and leaving me out of the birth. While I was sending the papers and started the divorce proceedings, she kicked into full postpartum depression. And when her mother finally got her, when she finally beat me, which I guess was the victory over her ex, did I mention she's effing crazy? She had no more use for my wife. The family involved in the birth included my mother in law's sister and my wife's brothers. While my mother in law and her sister knew what was going on, my brother in laws got fed this BS narrative that my mother in law spent. When my mother in law was done with her plan, the entire facade came down, and my brother in laws found out everything upon questioning my wife. They were horrified. Needless to say, postpartum, facing a very grueling divorce on her side, no longer welcome in our home, and having done everything to alienate me from my son at the behest of a broken lunatic, reality hit her like a truck. She torched her entire life because her mother is a broken shell of a human who used her to enact her own sense of justice. The very mother who washed her hands of her after she got what she wanted. Or at least this is the story she gave me. Frankly, there are many holes in her story. The starting point of the pattern of abuse, the claims of who was involved in the delivery, me being absent from appointments, the friend who she confirmed is female, she's staying with, and of course, my alleged son's paternity. It seems way too effing crazy to be made up. Who the hell would go to the effort to make this up, facing what she's facing? As soon as she finished, she says she's setting up a paternity test and gave me the info I needed. With any luck, it should be done in roughly a week or so once I do my part. She gave the most sincere apologies any human being has ever given. She's begged for another chance. I was frankly too stunned to say anything, so she left and promised to call soon. I don't think I can give her another chance. I don't think I can ever risk anything like this again. God, I'm still hoping she's just being a cheating psycho, spinning a sympathy story to try and throw me off because this just got way too complicated. Jesus, this was a long story time, and who knows if this is true or not. Anything could possibly be true. Um, but what I will say is, it is not beyond the scope that this man is still angry and wanting to get a divorce. He was excited. From what I could see, he was excited and wanted to be involved in this pregnancy, and she shut him out. And with all of this coming out, he could soften and allow her to like get back into her into his good graces and try to co-parent in some kind of healthy way. But I don't know. Can you imagine being excited for something only to be shut out of somebody's life for almost a year? He might be able to feel some forgiveness towards her, but letting her back in, I don't know. Now, the women on my pages, especially my YouTube page, are skeptical because a man is writing this in when men typically write stories. Sometimes things get left out. They write in ways that are trying to make themselves look better. But it is not beyond the scope that a toxic mom can plant seeds of doubt into a daughter. That could happen. That is not beyond the scope of something that could happen. But this is the update. Y'all let me know. You chime in. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.